Hello, and you join us for our thoughts and reviews on the latest episode of Doctor Who, the Tsuranga Conundrum, which is a tongue twister in its own right.
Whatever it's called.
And we start off with Sean's thoughts.
Yes, we do.
That really sounds like it should be a segment on its own right. And now, over to Sean's thoughts.
That's my thoughts. Now sport. And
Do you want to elucidate a bit? Because it's going to be a bit of a very short review if that's all you're going to give us.
pretty much what I've got. Although I do want to apologise. I called last week's boring. Man, this was kind of dull. I liked it when it first started. I was like, awesome, they're going to do an alien thing. Then it just kind of, no, that never really happened. You know, on a ship, there's something in the walls. I'm like, awesome, Alien. I love that film. It's a great film. No, it just kind of fell apart from there. So I'm probably more disappointed than normal. Because I wanted something good, and what I got was a reject from Sesame Street as a villain. Or a monster, I should say.
Was it? Yeah, I was going to say, was it just me who thought that the pating...
Ting, which sounds like the noise. I can't come up with anything funny for that. It was that dull.
Well, it says on the Wikipedia page for the Tsuranga Conundrum that the pating creature was created and named by writer Tim Price, who worked on the story room early in the series development. And Chibnall told Doctor Who magazine that the team loved the brilliant and unusual name for the alien.
Ting sounds like a reject Vulcan name from Star Trek.
Now, was it my imagination, or was the pating sort of cute?
It was designed to sell for Christmas, I do feel.
It's a weird mix of, like, it's the big eyes. Big eyes and anything make something automatically cute.
I wanted a xenomorph.
To its face.
Well,
yeah, they couldn't do a xenomorph.
Well, obviously not, because A, R-rated film, and B, Fox, although possibly Disney now, will actually sue them.
Yes.
But something like that. It started like that. They're on a ship, something in the walls. Oh, awesome, alien.
My actual initial thought was, are we finally going to find out what that thing was in Midnight?
And we were in a hospital, so they could do AVP Requiem if they really wanted to.
Oh, God, no.
Although we were a pregnant man instead of a pregnant woman, so you back out.
No, I don't need a recreation of that scene. That traumatized.
We never get a recreation of that scene in a Doctor Who episode. And Chris Chibnall just fucking loses it. And,
Before the watershed, the whole thing is just...
Now there's going to be some angry letters from parents.
Dear points of view.
This is anymore, is it? Now it's just an angry tweet you do with hashtag traumatized children. I don't know. But yeah, it was surprisingly boring. That's my genuine view on that. It sent my mum to sleep.
Wow.
It was that dull.
We can't even get your mum's thoughts then.
No. Well, that was her thoughts. On the virtues of she has trouble sleeping most time, so that must have been boring.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of boring. I was excited for the first 10 minutes, and then I just went, nope.
Well, I tuned in slightly late. Fortunately, I was able to, thanks to... This is going to be our little plug of iPlayer here. But fortunately, thanks to iPlayer, I was able to watch the show from the very start and only be 10 minutes behind with the live stream broadcast.
Only they were paying us.
I wish they were.
Instead you have to pay them because the TV license. No,
I'm happy to pay the TV license. No, but I mean, I fortunately I was only a little bit behind, so. But it was an interesting episode.
Good interesting or bad interesting? Just interesting to bad, what you're saying.
In some ways, it was almost closer to the sort of the formulaic nature of Doctor Who. There's a threat, there's a danger. We've got to work out what it was, which was interesting. I wouldn't say it's like a terribly. It's a great episode. And it suffers a lot from, it's the case of, it's actually a very simple story and there's not much depth to it. Now, I know we can say that for a lot of Doctor Who episodes in terms of...
most Doctor Who episodes, to be brutally honest.
They're all rather skin... But even then, it's like, well, I couldn't tell you, like, an exciting moment, necessarily. Even episodes that are sort of just skin deep will have a scene, a moment that makes you go, wow, that was really good. That moment, which kind of just makes the episode. This one didn't really have that for me.
No.
My mum's thoughts on it was she thought it was okay, not great, but it was an all good episode. That was about my mum's thoughts on it, really. Mum also said an interesting thing with I don't know if we discussed it or not. You probably tell me if we have.
I remember what we talk about. I drink heavily after these. I don't remember a thing. That's why the editing's a bit dodgy. And
there seems to be a lot of moralising in Doctor Who.
Oh, I can't wait for next week. It's going to be great.
Yes, we'll get to that later.
After Rose, though, this is going to be amazing.
We'll get to that one later.
I would say that's a lot of entertainment these days. Is a lot of moralising.
But I mean, it's the big, strong focus on it. I mean, because we've said about, Chris Chibnall said he wanted this to be educational. And we actually did have a very much educational moment of, how does antimatter work? What are we doing at CERN with a Large Hadron Collider? That's
Sony LeVar Burton being Joy LaForge. She would explain that way better.
We had a wonderful explanation, and we did have a full-on sort of, 2-minute breakdown?
It was, the iPhone version of CERN. I went, pretentious and doesn't work. Oh, you weren't going for that analogy, you're going for cheap. I would never describe anything by Apple cheap.
I think by comparison to CERN.
Well, yeah, actually, if I wanted an actual Hadron Collider, that would probably cost more.
Just
slightly more. This is Apple we're talking about.
That's given them an idea now. They're going to do their own Hadron Collider now.
Buy the kids for Christmas the Lego Hadron Collider. You got a partnership with Lego. They'll get it in stores, man.
Yeah, that probably would.
Turn your child into a physicist or a Bond villain. Either way.
Or both.
Or both, yeah. There are a lot of Bond villains that fit both, really.
Usually they tend to be both.
You too can threaten the world for $1 million.
And even then, to be fair, Bond villains don't tend to build their own weapons. They have a team to do it for them.
Yeah,
they're the ones who say, this is what I want. You're going to build it. I finance it.
I'm just going to sit here stroking my cat. We got off topic now.
We did.
I've got an awesome email sent to Lego Company.
But yeah, I mean, the past few weeks, there's been a very strong sort of moralising story to these. It's not just entertainment. It's like, here is a very... Is
anything just entertainment? No, every story has a moral.
Everything...
Intentionally or not, it will have a moral.
It's just a little bit closer to the surface than it usually has been.
Mm-hmm.
Because, or maybe it's just a bit more there. I mean, Rosa obviously was the strongest one, there was a very strong moral message. Even last week's was a little bit, really. The idea of things that appear to be monsters aren't necessarily. And we had the moralising with our pseudo-Trump figure last week.
Was that moralising? Is that just saying, lol, Trump exists? I was like, good to know.
Well, no, it's a criticism of his stance on things. It was the whole idea of his bravado, his strong character, his strong man sort of thing. A part of it was sort of disapproving of what he does. The whole thing about his business practices and things like that. It was a strong idea of being aware of doing things. Again, it's thinly veiled stuff, but it's not even then. It's not moralising with any great strength. I mean, the ones we had this week was... nice upbeat sort of hope. Hope is just a matter of, if you're facing a crisis, you imagine the solution and you imagine how you're going to get there.
That's just a tad immature, if not outright dangerous thing to teach people. If you just hope it all works out better, but that's not how the real world works.
Well, it's not the idea of hope and it will fix itself. It's the idea of you need to hope to try and find a solution.
I'm calling it slightly naive.
I think it's more the sense of hope is the driving force to push you to fix it. But the other moralising thing was about the sort of the fatherhood thing with Yoss.
Yes.
And we had the return to Ryan's sort of ongoing story about with his dad and everything. The idea of you can be a dad and all this and all that side of things.
Mm.
So we had that ongoing thing, which Mum found was a bit of a moral, not in a negative or positive way, but merely as a comment of there's another strong moral issue there with the idea of...
Yeah, but it kind of takes you out of it when you notice it. It's so obvious.
Yes.
Which is kind of... Now I'm being taught a lesson, let me get my notebook out and write notes on this.
Which I think maybe is why I've not been connecting quite so much with this series of Doctor Who quite in the same way, because it is a lot closer to the surface. You can see, here's our moral message for the week. And it's
It's He-Man. They literally did every bit of He-Man had a bit of a... Now look here. I can't remember any character from He-Man because that show is something else. In more ways than one. Except for Skeletor, the most mincing villain ever. But yeah, it is a lot more in your face.
Yeah.
It's the BBC I expected these days.
But the BBC can do good stuff that's well written with a strong moral message and everything, that's got a driving plot line that keeps you hooked. The moralising story is interesting in its own right. It's not just, here's our moral message, it's here's our moral story. We didn't have moral... For the past few weeks, we've not had moral stories. We'd have moral messages. It's like, here is the thing. There you go. It's not a story that you're developing with... The story itself doesn't encapsulate the morals into it.
The story should come first, the moral comes second.
Yeah.
Rather than the moral first, story second.
And at the minute, we seem to be getting a little more on that, and even as a result, it weakens the story out.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to next week's?
It's gonna be great.
I'm intrigued to see where it's going.
Considering I disliked Rosa for more reasons than one, I can't wait for next week. It's gonna be great.
Well, the other thing that makes me think of it is, hang on a minute, we're going...
Might get some character for Yaz finally.
Yeah, to be fair, she's not been a primary focus for episodes, really. Ryan's had a stronger focus.
And Bradley Walsh being Bradley Walsh.
He's great, I do like Graham.
Bradley Walsh just makes him a punch over his mouth. To be fair, that is a Bradley Walsh general thing, not necessarily in this. That's just general Bradley Walsh.
I like Bradley Walsh.
What a dick.
But my instant thought was, when we saw, so next week's one is it's going back in time to meet Yaz's grandmother as a young woman. Probably, by the looks of it, when she's Yaz's age.
Yeah.
So my first thoughts on that was, hang on a minute. We've had storylines like this where they go back in time to find their parent or grandparent.
So giant bats again is what you're saying. Great.
Father's Day, yeah, it's a classic one.
Stupid episode.
I like
stupid episode. I hate the bats. They're just stupid.
The Reapers.
They're giant bat things.
They're Reapers.
Rejected enemy from Castlevania. Only good thing about the episode is it rickrolls you. Rick Astley's in that episode on the radio. On the radios.
Oh yeah.
Rick Astley. So I was like, that's great, but yeah. But it's also just kind of boring.
So part of me, again, it's the nature of, we're going back in time, but we've got to be very dangerous because we're not only dealing with real time and not wanting to mess things up, which sometimes happens with the Doctor, sometimes it doesn't. But, I mean, to be fair, the fluid nature of how the Doctor interacts with historical figures and historical events, we know that varies.
Fluid nature, inconsistent writing.
But we're also dealing with a situation of it now being directly tied into the life, literally in existence, of one of the companions.
Awesome Back to the Future moment.
Possibly.
Start to fade out of existence. Then Christopher Lloyd can show up. In the DeLorean as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where they're going to go with it exactly. I mean, the setting for it is the partition of India. So the whole thing is going to be intriguing. Because, again, as is usually the case, we don't get much information about what the plot line is, particularly based on the trailers anymore. And it was only the trailer that went on after the episode had actually finished that I got more information about, here's what's going to be happening next week. We know next to nothing. I'm expecting... I mean, they're doing real-life history as well, which is a rarer thing. Usually when they do
history
stuff,
in massive quotation marks. In the same way Assassin's Creed does history. And
it's still looking at real-life events, is my point. Doctor Who usually tends to do things... If it does historical, it tends to sort of be... It doesn't look at events. It will be sort of... We've gone back to Victorian London. Or we've gone to New York in the 1930s, but we're not going to comment on.
And when
events.
We say New York, we mean Cardiff. But that's actually where we were. Or in the studio.
You know what I mean. It's the whole thing about they don't talk about events that happen, or historical figures might appear, but it's not to do with the event they're there for. It's the whole thing about like when they went back in time and we met Charles Dickens. It wasn't at a major significant point in Charles Dickens' life. it was just him as a character. It wasn't at the moment he was writing A Christmas Carol or anything like that. When we met... What's one of the other ones we've met historical figures in?
What, in the entire issue of Doctor Who? That's all. No one else likes the episode Marco Polo, just me.
To be fair, that's one of the lost episodes.
I know, it's but one day we'll get a copy of it and it'll be great.
They'll find some copies of it.
In space.
Let's go for New Who.
New Who. You're Charles Dickens.
Yep.
I'm scratching my memory here. He gotta be... Does Queen Elizabeth count? He didn't do much in either of her appearances.
Churchill.
Oh yeah, that episode was a bit fires. Yeah, that episode was fucking stupid. Although I do miss the Power Rangers Daleks. Do miss them.
What else have we had? Who else have we had? Van Gogh.
Technically met Hitler.
Yep.
Van Gogh. That's another episode that got a bit
Hey, no, that's a good one.
heavy-handed. Okay,
It's emotional. It's not a moralising story, but that one's got a good emotional plotline. There's a difference there.
Yeah, the Van Gogh one. I blend a lot of them out of my memory. Probably some more.
There's a few more. But even then, it's never been at significant moments in their lives.
Oh.
And even then, we've never really gone back in time, or at least had an episode focused on it, that went to a major event in history. Or went back in time and sort of commented on it, if it was. We've had ones where, obviously, we've had a couple that have been to the Blitz in London. 1941.
Yeah, but the Blitz barely has any say in the episode. It's more.
We've had a few.
It's just like, I'm going to talk about Noon, like The Empty Child. It's just like, it's the Blitz. It's not really relevant.
No, I know, it's the setting. That's my point,
setting
is
of the
that
Blitz.
they don't tend to go back to a particular time period and then it's a commentary on the time period. To be fair, we have no idea what that's going to be if they are going to comment on it a great deal next week, aside from them making the comment of this is where we are and it's a
doing a
dangerous
quick
time.
Wikipedia search for the partition of India, there's a lot of things I can comment on. Just how much of it is suitable for a children's TV show is another matter, but yeah, who knows what they'll do. I'm just saying, after Rosa, it's either gonna be boring or spectacular. And I don't necessarily mean spectacular in a good way.
No, do you mean it in the sense of the Chinese saying may you live in interesting times?
Yes, it's going to be 40 minutes of moralising, probably.
More than that, they're 50 minutes now, aren't they?
50 minutes of moralising. 10 minutes for an attempt at character stuff.
Again, though, we have no idea really what's happening apart from there's some sort of
Did Chris
threat.
Chibnall write this one?
What, next week's?
Yeah.
No, it's the first one he's not written.
So it might be different. Although he probably has final say on the final script.
Yeah, next week. So half of the series. So we've reached the halfway point. So we can comment on the series, what we thought of it so far, because we've now reached the halfway point. Next week's is the first one that Chris Chibnall is not having a hand in actually writing the episode.
Say that, he probably did the final draft.
Well, he is the head writer,
yeah.
so it's all got to be approved by him, but the point is he's not actually written the episode. He's written or co-written every episode we've had so far.
Yep.
And next week's is the first one where he's not written it. Which is Demons of the Punjab, written by Vinay Patel.
Ooh, he doesn't write another episode till the finale.
Yeah, he doesn't do any more.
That's it. Different people writing.
So, should we do our halfway through the series thoughts?
We could.
Just to fill up a bit more time.
Yeah, you go first. I went first before.
This series generally hasn't gripped me in quite the same way that other ones have. I can't pinpoint exactly why. It's a brand new team. It's not only a new doctor and a new head writer, but it's also new figures for the producers, for the music, the whole thing. A lot of new directors, and sometimes I just find, and I think part of it comes from we commented on it just a little bit earlier on in this recording on the push for stronger moral lessons, life lessons and things like that. And it's a bit closer to the surface, and sometimes that suffers that has an impact on it. I'm growing to like the Doctor. I'm growing to like Jodie Whittaker's Doctor. And sometimes I find it difficult because it's the nature of, even if I love the character, it's not always easy if the writing's not great. Because as we've said before, the issue with Doctor Who has never been its casting, it's always been its poor scripts when it happens. And they tend to be just as many misses as there are hits. And I'd probably say there are probably more misses than hits a lot of the time, unfortunately.
The whole series, most of them are quite terrible. Even the old ones you go back to are not that good.
Yeah.
They're not all Genesis of the Daleks.
That's a cracker.
That is a great episode. Or Evil of the Daleks.
No,
if that's the right one I'm thinking of.
Last week's Arachnids in the UK, that was one that for me felt, okay, this feels like classic Doctor Who, as in it's going for this classic formulaic nature of things. The Ghost Monument was interesting, but it didn't grip me. Rosa, I had my own issues with, mostly because I felt it didn't use the historical characters properly, because it didn't actually make you feel for or care about Rosa Parks as a person. You cared for her because of what she represents, but that's not. But that's the nature of. So I've been having to chat with people quite a lot about Rosa, because it was always after that episode people were asking me, Alex, what did you think of Doctor Who? Because it's been on for a few weeks now. And
we just happen to ask you now. And be very careful what you say now, because the thing things like that get heated these days very quickly.
My nature with the episode with Rosa is, it didn't feel like an episode of Doctor Who because it felt very much like a historical drama that featured Doctor Who. Doctor Who was in it as a character. But the other key issue I found with it was very short, and the focus of it, I totally understand the reasoning for it, and I totally support the reasoning of having an episode talking about civil rights movement at a time when we live in a world that seems to be going through real crisis and real questionings on things to do with civil rights and racial prejudice and racial discrimination. But using a major historical figure like Rosa Parks, who was an amazing woman, she did so much with her life and she's become so iconic. The thing is, when you become such an icon like that, all she was used for, in what seemed to be in the case of the episode for me, was she was the icon of Rosa Parks, not a person. We didn't see her. Despite the fact she was the focus of the episode, she didn't really appear in it a great deal. So we didn't have any kind of emotional connection to her. Aside from that, we didn't want anything to happen to her because she's Rosa Parks and she's iconic, and we know that her legacy is something wonderful that made the world what it is today and helped start things towards a better place from the horrible time that it was. But at the same time, we didn't really care for the character. It's the difference between the character and the icon. If you had changed the name to somebody else and it wasn't alright, it's a weird thing because the whole nature of it is meant to be Rosa Parks.
Those are rocks.
Yeah. There's nothing to the character.
Alternate version from the Mirror Universe.
There's no emotional connection to Rosa. I felt and it's not a case of I didn't care about Rosa, but the character, I couldn't find a connection to it, which I struggled with as a result. It created an emotional dissonance for me with the episode because it was powerful. I could see it was a very powerful episode because of the focus and the subject it's writing on. But I just couldn't find myself connecting to the character. And as a result, the whole episode lost a lot of connection for me. Because if I can't feel something for the principal focus of the entire episode, and therefore the entire plot, it makes it a very difficult episode to sort of have any strong feelings for. Which is why my feelings after the episode were largely apathetic. Not because I thought it was a bad episode and I disagreed with it in any way, it's just because I didn't get any kind of emotional connection from it. Which has kind of been my issue for some of these episodes. It's the nature of we don't really connect much with the characters. And I don't know if that's the nature of the quality of the writings, not as strong, or it's a very different style for the writing. It does feel very different. Because even then, I mean, when we went from Russell T Davies to Stephen Moffat, there was still a through line. There wasn't a huge shift in the style and the approach of things, I don't think. The stories were all vaguely similar. Yes, Stephen Moffat was a lot more heavy-handed with doing his plots and things like that. And the nature of how he would write the episodes, the narratives, were very him. But the style wasn't radically different, and this is a very different style that I'm not gelling with quite so easily. There we go, I think we've filled up about 5 minutes of me rambling away. Your turn.
Been kind of air. See, I'm way more succinct than you with this.
Yeah, it's because I don't know when to shut up.
My favourite episode is still the first one. I genuinely like that episode without me being sarcastic. Other than being a bit... My problem is there's 3 companions. And this is the same problem Peter Davison had when he was the Doctor. Way too many companions.
2 works.
Yeah, 2 is about the most you can usually do, at least for a long term basis. You can do 3, but with 3, you suffer. They don't really have, again, Peter Davison film, they don't have anything to do. Or at least not all of them always have something to do.
Yeah.
And plus characterising them, you got 3 extra people to do. You know, it should just be 1 or 2, 3 short term, not for a full series, rapidly. So that's my first problem. I wouldn't say I dislike any companions. I wouldn't say I like them. I would say Bradley Walsh, but that's a personal reason. I don't really know that much about any of them. You get a few bits here and there, and Ryan probably has the most actual character done with him. You know, his dad stuff, his thing where he can't, wherever it is, I don't know, remember what it is.
Dyspraxia.
Yeah, dyspraxia, that. You know, there are little things, you know. I wouldn't call it a character, but there's more than, you know, Bradley Walsh got no death of his, were they married?
Yeah, they were married.
Wife. You know, and also Ryan's got death of his nan. But they just don't do much. They're there for, you know, Bradley Walsh is there to make smart comments about things. And Ryan's there to have a moment. And Yaz just is there, brutally honest, for the entire series. She's just kind of there. She hasn't really done anything.
No.
Unless I'm forgetting something. That's the first problem. Jodie Whittaker, I don't dislike, she never shuts up and it's still annoying me. There's small talk and there's never shutting up. I didn't think she was better this episode. She didn't talk as much. Or at least I didn't notice it as much. So either I was so bored I tuned out, or she wasn't that bad. It's weird, we haven't talked about any of the other characters in this week's one. We haven't talked about any of the other characters in this week's episode.
No, what do you want to say about them?
I'm just noticing. I'm just noticing that we haven't actually said anything, which probably says a lot about them.
They didn't stand out particularly.
No, not really.
I mean, it was interesting.
Again, I thought they were doing an alien thing. Went, that dude's an android. We're definitely doing an alien thing here. Nope. Anyway, off that, back to the series. The first episode was good. I liked it. The second episode was kind of crap, really. Now, going back to it, it's kind of crap. You know, don't shoot them, that's wrong, but blowing them up is okay. There's your moral lesson right there. 3, yeah, we'll skip that one. Because I'll offend someone when I say something. Was alright, but wasn't a Doctor Who episode. 4 was a good wait. Yeah, 4 was Arachnids in the...
Yeah, that's 4.
No,
I am 5 now.
I am at keeping track of these. 4 is one of the things that sounds like an awesome idea, and you watch it and you're like, that's it. You know, giant spiders, that's all you've got. Again, you spend little time actually on the giant spiders. It's more watching Yaz's mum be a bitch. I know she was just fired, but life-threatening situation, stop being a bitch for 10 minutes. You just, you know, I don't give a shit about those people. Giant spiders! Come on! That's a great idea. Do more with that. And this week, which was annoying to me more than anything. Because I wanted it to be an alien thing, and they didn't do it.
Do you know what? Part of me's just thinking back on this week's episode.
Yeah.
The Doctor's saying for a while, why do I know that name? The name Tsuranga.
Yeah.
We never do quite learn why she knows it. Why is it significant in the Doctor's name? Is it a case... Because we know that, we find out later on it's not a hospital, it's a ship. Yeah. Why is that still relevant to...
I was expecting some sinister Wayne-Yutani shit. Like, weird, they're kind and helpful on the outside, but underneath it's something really sinister going on.
Yeah, or part of me was thinking, this is a ship that's destined for, doom or something like that, like Titanic type things, like, oh dear, we've been rescued by a ship that the Doctor knows something's going to be terrible, it's going to happen to it, or something like that. But we never did quite learn the significance.
Maybe that will come back. Or maybe it won't, and it was just a loose plot thread.
I think it's a case that's been written out. I think it's like one of those classic things of, why do I know that name? No, this is making me think for a while. What is this thing? It's the Harriet Jones thing.
Yeah.
Which was tied up, to be fair.
Yeah, they did actually, So maybe they'll bring that back.
Where it comes from.
I was generally expecting something sinister. It's a hospital, they care for people. You're like, yeah, bullshit, this is fiction, they're up to something. I mean, they'll blow the ship up, but that is kind of... But I was expecting some proper Umbrella Corporation shady crap that goes on these ships, and you don't really get that. Again, going for the alien thing. It was all there!
Yeah.
It was all there! You've got the corporation who's evil, you've got a bloody android... A monster in the loosest definition of the word. You had everything there for a good, obviously a bit more family friendly, alien, claustrophobic, trapped on the ship, there's a monster trying to kill you.
All the ingredients.
You've even got a man pregnant. Okay, it's not John Hurt, but hey, close enough.
Sorry, I'm just on the Wikipedia page and someone's just updated it.
Yeah.
With, instead of plot, it says lost the plot. And it's written, there is no plot really, only a ting that's a bit rubbish.
Yeah, that is pretty much... Man, I should stop reading Wikipedia. It'll be a lot more foul language if I was reading Wikipedia. But yeah, you have everything there. You have male pregnancy, android, corporation, monster. How do you not do an alien? Homage, I'll say, rather than rip-off. With all that in one episode. That's just fucking hell. You have to try not to do that.
I'm just carrying on reading this lost the plot on the Wikipedia page because it's after only a pating that's a bit rubbish. It says Bradley Walsh earned, once again, 5-star reviews as his performance as Graham was amazing. Which instantly tells me it's not you doing the writing. Yeah, definitely
not me writing that. I don't think Bradley Walsh is a bad actor. I just can't stand him. Something about him just makes me want to punch him in the face.
I like Bradley.
I don't think he's bad in this. He's perfectly fine in this. He's probably the most memorable one out of all of them. No offence to the other two actors, but I know exactly. Bradley Walsh is, Bradley Walsh, you know what he's going to do. His, northern charm thing. He's Bradley Walsh, have a couple of wry comments now and then. Be a down-to-earth kind of guy. The other two, maybe next week, Yaz will actually do something. And be useful. And have some character. Who knows? Ryan's had bits, but they've never really done anything with it. If his father's not the bad guy at the season finale, I'm gonna be annoyed. Do
you reckon one day? Do you reckon we'll actually meet him?
Either they're gonna have to do. They can't really keep bringing it up, especially this episode, which the whole idea of fathers.
Yeah.
You have to have some sort of resolution. I don't say he has to be the bad guy, but he can show up.
Well, even last week, it was because last week you found out that he wants Ryan to live with him.
Yeah, some sort of either reconciliation or confrontation with him about, especially with his nan being dead.
And Graham.
I
reckon if it does happen, that'll be the episode where Ryan calls Graham Grandad.
Yeah, and finally fist bumps him.
Yeah, well, maybe not that far. It probably goes
too far.
Yeah, it'll be like that. He'll refer to him as Grandad because it's not been mentioned for a while.
Dyspraxia hasn't been mentioned for a while either.
No.
But the thing is, the Binny lad isn't near recently. I'm expecting some. See, you got Ryan and Bradley, Graham, sorry, have somewhere to go. He's got his father, his dyspraxia. Bradley's got his grief with what's her name?
Grace.
His death, and coming to terms with that, and finally going back to the house where he used to live, and bad memories and would be there. Yaz doesn't really have anything yet. She's just kind of here. Or am I missing something?
Yeah.
They have somewhere...
At the minute, but even just generally, Yaz at the minute is missing it. She's a bit thin in terms of what her character... I mean, because it's summing up, not the plot points, but the character, so like the personality, can you sum up each of the companions for me in 3 words each?
Insufferable, kind of dim, and no offense to Ryan, but he is a bit of a... I know he has no idea what's going on. No, seriously, Bradley Walsh is... I don't know, can I, in 1 word, sum them up?
No, like 3 words each.
Okay, 3 words. Bradley Walsh
So
is...
3 words for Graham, 3 words for Ryan, 3 words for Yaz.
Pick what I say. Graham would be... He's too old for this shit. No. Well, he's
Sarcastic.
just yeah. He's. I think he's meant to be the funny one.
He's meant to be the cynic a little bit as well.
Yeah, the cynical, funny one. He's the one with he's got the smartest comments. But there is still, the grief there. He's not just there to be the comic relief.
No. There's a
he is allowed to have the grief of Grace's death. And his relationship with Ryan. That's good. I mean, Ryan and Yaz were school friends, but that's never really come up. Yeah, they were once school friends, and they lost contact with each other after school, and now having to bump into each other. But again, they've not done anything with it. It's just...
There are moments where they seem to potentially reference something going on. It's never made in a big way, which I'm glad about, because things like that, they can really be awkward. It almost feels like it's building towards something might happen. Because you get occasional flickers of a deeper connection between those two.
Yeah.
Of sort of stronger than just being friends feelings and things like that. Which is understandable, because it's the nature of literally the Adventures with the Doctor is, they put your life on the line, that as a result it literally produces adrenaline. And you then associate that with people, and things like that can cause... It's almost like holiday romance. It's things like that. It's the whole thing, with action movies, there's always a love interest, and as a result of the high danger and the life on the line,
there's love interest that no one likes, because they're always forced into it completely.
Yeah, it's the whole thing about, at the end of the film, yes, they're together, but that's not going to work long term.
No.
They two will not be able to stay together, because although that's the circumstances that brought them together, those circumstances have brought them together, but they're not going to continue to keep them together. It's the big difference of things like that. Which I think is part of the whole thing with Martha, if we're going back to a bit of Doctor Who, old schooly stuff.
Martha she existed.
Martha was a companion who fell in love
allegedly.
with the Doctor.
And,
she left the Doctor, married someone who was a doctor as well, and then she left him and ended up marrying Mickey.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, really did.
Okay. I know Rose fucked up. I mean, frankly, good. Rose was horrible to Mickey. Really fucking honest. But yeah, that came out of nowhere.
But the nature of it is, by the point that we realise that they're together, they are being their lives seem to be very much action-filled now. Because that's the only way that... I mean, the personalities for them kind of work then, because we know that Mickey ended up becoming someone who was an action hero by the end of it.
So again, somehow.
Yeah.
It happened off-screen. He needed his own spin-off TV series.
No.
Everyone got one of those. Just called Mickey.
Oh, Mickey, you're so fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Yaz is a decent person, but that's not enough to really say, here's what the character's like.
No. Even the Doctor is like, Doctor's personality is still there, but the more I see of Jodie, I liked her in the first episode. I'm starting to really get annoyed by it now. I don't know why. It's just that she's starting to get on my wick. I mean, it took 10 at least 2 series before he started getting on my nerves. With his never shutting up, and but hey, that's the nature of it. What about all the new bad guys we've had? After all, since we're having all new bad guys and returning guest stars.
Yeah, so who have we had?
We've had Not Predator.
Tim Shaw.
The Not Predator. See? Finale! You could have had him on and done Aliens versus Predator. Oh my god, it was literally all there. Sorry,
Tim Shaw.
Yeah, Tim Shaw. Who was a bad guy, but that was really it.
I mean, yeah, but yeah.
If he does come back, or one of his race comes back, that's what we think might happen later.
Well, that's the thing. They mentioned it in the following episode,
Yeah.
but we've not had the Stenza mentioned since.
I mean, your alien warrior hunter race has been done to fucking death.
Oh, yes.
In everything. But hey, it'd be something.
It's difficult to do one of those with originality.
Yeah, without making something be the Predator or a Klingon. The big ones.
Or even then, it's just the nature of it's just the basics. It's just there's not much different to it. So that was them. The second episode we had
Evil Laundry.
Well, even then, they weren't really the villains. They were just sort of
There.
the
monster.
threat.
The monster.
Yeah.
That's there.
Rosa was Krasko, so we
Was,
had an alien white supremacist.
Mr. Make the Future White Again.
Yeah.
Which was so fucking like I was like, well, obviously, of course he is. What else would happen? With the bad guy in this, who else would it be?
Yeah.
It couldn't be an alien trying to do something else for some other reason. No, must be racism, because we've got to beat this message into you. If you haven't got it yet from everyone in the South being cartoonishly racist, if that hasn't quite gotten it through to you yet, we'll make sure. I mentioned the episode was heavy-handed.
They could have done that in a different way. They could have
I still thought what they were going to do was he was actually an alien. That at some point in future the human race becomes something powerful. And if he knocks
by keeping them disunited.
Yeah, that idea of that. Okay, and you think, oh, he's a racist, and then they twist it, but they never got that far. Maybe I was.
Well, if they had gone for that, I think if what we just said then, if it had been an alien who went back in time to prevent this from happening, because this was seen as a moment where this would start the movement of humanity uniting, be a strong force, and everything. It's like that still has the same message. It's delivered in a better way.
You could argue it's more subtle than going, he's a racist.
Yeah.
Do you get it yet? And you're like, yeah, I got it from the first scene where that guy punched Ryan in the face. I got it, and it just feels like they were on one track and just everything on that, and just like 10 minutes, and you're like, Bioshock Infinite was subtler with its racism, and that's saying something. When that was more subtle, and
So moving on from Rosa
to
Arachnids in the UK.
Oh yeah, Arachnids in the UK, which was giant spiders, which really can't say much other than there's giant spiders.
They're giant spiders.
That's all they were. Chris, you're not impressing me with your new villains.
And then this week we had the Pating.
I generally now want a Dalek to show up just for something maybe not threatening is the wrong word.
Familiarity?
Yeah, something mildly threatening. I mean, you can make a Dalek threatening again. I still say one Dalek is more threatening than an entire army of them. Hell, you could do an alien thing with a Dalek. You're trapped on a spaceship with one Dalek who's going on a rampage.
Like in Dalek?
Yeah, that's a great episode. My favourite Dalek episode. Yeah, probably is of the new series, actually. My favourite Dalek episode of the new series. Yeah, probably is actually my favourite Dalek episode. Because they felt threatening and scary.
Yeah. It's a great scene as well, because the first time the new series meets the Daleks.
And that great moment with, stairs, what are you going to do? I know they flew in Sylvester McCoy's era, but shut up.
But this was the first...
Yeah, and they can fly, to your point, Daleks can't conquer the universe, they can't get upstairs.
And generally, it's a great episode as well, because it's a great moment that the Doctor this is after with the Time War thing. It's like he's confronting what he believes is the last one of his enemy, and it all just comes back.
Which everyone on TV is going, Doctor, no. No,
I really like that episode.
It's a great episode. It's a wonderful Dalek. Even the one where Davros came back was kind of crap. And I wanted that to be good, because the guy who plays Davros is great.
It's amazing.
He does Davros. You're like, oh, hey, return to Davros. With his body. Last time I saw him, he was a head in a jar, but he got his whole body back. Whatever.
He's cloned himself loads of times, though.
Oh, come on. Lots of Davros. You've got to have that happen. They would never get along.
I think what he does is he clones... He regrows a body, as in he clones cells and then regrows them into a body for himself.
But, Davros, the Courage of the Dark, okay, and you watch the episode and you're like, that's it? I mean, yeah, whether he died at the end, died.
Yes, the ambiguity. If that's the thing, Russell T Davies hated the idea that he was the man who killed Davros. It's the idea of never see the kill scene.
It's the comic book problem of the big villain you can never properly get rid of, because fans want the familiar villains.
Well, we know he came back because Peter Capaldi saw him, didn't she? On Skaro. Which again was actually quite a nice episode in some ways, really.
It's weird Davos is a human. Human, you know what I mean? He's not a human. I know he's not human, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Not a puppet in a wheelchair. I'm generally now want a Dalek to show up, just for something slightly threatening. Just slightly, because it's all going to be kind of crap and a bit, let's be honest, wishy-washy with some of it.
Yeah.
Come on, Chris. You've got to save your good stuff for the second half. Because I'm behind the idea of new villains, because you need some. You can't fight the same 4 things every single series.
No.
But they need to be good. Not what we've got, man. Not what we've got. Something that's threatening. Look, Mr. Not Predator was slightly threatening. He's a powerful guy, got all this stuff, looked intimidating.
Killed indiscriminately.
Yeah, great bad guy. Awesome, great bad guy. I like this guy, he could work. Then you had whatever was the villain and the monster of the second episode. Mr. Trump voter and giant spiders, which he wasted massively in my opinion, because giant fucking spiders, that's... it was less giant spiders and more how evil businessmen are. Which feels slightly hypocritical coming from the BBC, but whatever. It's like when Disney tried to be anti-capitalist, no Disney. Come on, Chris. Do better. I expect better.
Well, next week is the first one without Chris.
Yeah, who knows? It might be better. We might get an actual bad guy.
We'll see.
Guess. It's a time-traveling British soldier going back in time to re-establish who knows what it's going to be? Is there going to be a bad guy? Maybe it's just history.
I suspect we'll have monsters. Maybe not necessarily a villain, but monsters.
Monsters of some kind.
Because that's the key difference. Because sometimes there are monsters, sometimes they're villains.
Yeah.
It's the difference of sometimes it's just something.
Who knows? Maybe a Cyberman. We might be lucky.
Because it's like that one... what was the Roman one with Peter Capaldi?
I can't remember what it's called, but I know which one you mean.
Yeah, that one didn't have a villain, it had a monster.
Yeah.
I think next week's is more likely to be a monster rather than a villain.
Most of them been monsters. I mean, Tim Shaw's a villain.
Tim Shaw's a villain.
He's a bad guy.
Rose is a villain.
Rose is a stupid idea for a villain, but a villain.
The Ghost Monument one's not a villain. They're closer to a monster, really.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing about the thing they're being attacked by are living-ish weapons that were created by scientists working for the Stenza.
Yeah.
So yeah, we haven't really had a villain. We've had monsters.
And the villains we have had are kind of crap. Well, Tim Shaw wasn't that interesting. He was just the only one who was actually scary.
Yeah, well even then, the whole thing with Tim Shaw is he's a hunter. He is Predator in that sense of he is doing something for the sheer pleasure of it.
Yeah, I think Predator...
Which is enough motivation to then make him scary. And he was presented in a way that, with the motivation, made him scary. We didn't have that with
Seriously,
Krasko.
Chris, get a Dalek in there, just one. Or if you want, maybe an Ice Warrior, you want to be a bit more low-key, not too obvious. You're doing... I expect better of you in the second half of the series, although you're only writing one episode. Which is a series finale, which better be good.
I would like it that...
Oh, should we mention that the Christmas special isn't on Christmas?
What?
The Christmas special's on New Year's Day.
No, it's not. It's on Christmas Day.
No, it's not. I saw it's been changed recently to...
Has it?
Apparently so.
On Wikipedia, it's still on Christmas Day.
Wikipedia's accurate. And,
do you know what's interesting, though?
What?
We're commenting about the lack of villains. What were you saying about, it needs to be darker?
Not let's Game of Thrones this up.
No, but it's weird you say that because he was the head writer for the first 2 series of Torchwood.
Oh, that wasn't dark, that was stupid. To be brutally honest, Torchwood was kind of dumb.
Bits of it, yes.
Yeah,
but
none of it was really that. It was definitely more adult, but that doesn't make something darker because it's more adult. You can't throw tits and sex and make something darker and grittier because just from that alone. Torchwood was kind of badly conceived as an idea. It was definitely less for kids.
Yeah, well, I would say it's generally not for kids at all with the swearing and the sex.
Yeah, but it wasn't necessarily that much Hello. You don't need to go torture on Doctor Who. Just something with some threat. That's not dumb. I know not dumb from Doctor Who is very rare. Because this series has actually really dumb fucking stuff in it. But just something slightly intimidating that doesn't get killed with the power of hope, which I'm generally expecting is going to happen one day in this series. If they kill something with the power of friendship, I'm fucking leaving. Because no, this is not some crappy anime yet. And something that's scary. Well, it's scary for kids, not scary, but scary for kids. A bit of gravitas, weight, I think is what I need. Stakes.
Yes.
Genuine stakes. Not these people's lives are in jeopardy. Yeah, they technically are, but you feel it.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing we've been missing.
There's
really.
no, oh shit, we're all going to die in about 40 minutes if we don't sort something out. It's like, oh yeah, there's in this episode, something mysterious, and it's a gremlin thing. That's like the porgs from fucking Last Jedi. That was made to sell toys, isn't it? And you're just like, yeah, that's not scary or intimidating. Yeah, it can eat things, and that's not scary. If it ate one of the patients, nothing on screen, but that would make it scary. Oh shit, it's going to eat us. That's something scary. And to see it on screen, because you should get away with that. And that's how graphic it was, I suppose. It's just kind of crap. The more I talk about it, the more I dislike this series. I think it's the more you think about it, the more you go, yeah, it's not been that good.
Yeah.
But who knows? We may change it with
let's see what the
new
second
writers
half,
until the final episode.
Let's see what the second half brings.
I shouldn't say that actually.
You've jinxed it now.
Yeah, it's gonna be terrible. Right. Damn it.
So we'll stop there before Sean makes the entirety of Doctor Who from now on awful.
It's gonna get cancelled again.
With his, you're not allowed to be optimistic.
Sorry.
I'm usually the one that's a little more.
It's gonna be terrible.
There we go.
And the universe is right itself. Cosmic balance has been achieved.
So you can join us next week for when we review the next episode of Doctor Who, Demons of the Punjab.